Joel Alexander, founder and CEO of Kendal.ai.
So Kendal is a WhatsApp CRM for the real estate brokerages and real estate industry broadly. Yeah, so I think a lot of people don't realize that most things in the world today are commoditized and not unique.
Which tangible benefits have you noticed or have you had in your experience?
The more we simplify the ideas around the concepts that we're trying to sell, the easier it becomes for a market to adopt your product. The more complex.
Do you see also this hype of building in public?
It's like the devil you know versus the devil you don't. At least you know that this guy has got only A, B, and C. So Kendal in its current iteration, it's only been 6 months, I would say. But us as a company, we've been around for about...
Did you think about launching product market?
I think that sometimes decisions are purely like statistics driven and not like emotional. Because if you want to look at the biggest real estate market in the world, go to Texas. Now in Dubai, we have 5,250 brokerages at least. The last time I checked, there might be more now.
Companies?
Yeah.
What's the AI in your product?
So the lead qualification component is the AI part right now, where natural language is used to...
I believe Kendal has not been built for short-term rental. Have you had any exposure about in short-term rental?
So having an AI chatbot that replies to you constantly is a very, very useful tool.
Welcome to the brand new season of the Next Gen Rental Podcast. Brought to you by Mr.Alfred, our main sponsor, a leading property management system for holiday home operators based out of Dubai. So hello everyone. In today's episode, we have Joel Alexander, founder and CEO of Kendal.ai. Welcome to the podcast.
Thanks, Oriol. I really appreciate you, having me on the premiere of this new season. And also this apartment is looking phenomenal, by the way. I don't think I've been to this side of Dubai. Maybe I'm just not in that tax bracket yet. There's a few yachts down there and I'm just not there. So really excited to be here and chat about all things real estate.
Now that you mentioned it, maybe next season we can start it, do it in a yacht.
You know what? Let's just do it on the Burj Al Arab helipad. Might as well.
Okay, let's see. We have a lot to work to reach there.
Yeah.
So if you can introduce yourself and the company so that our audience can understand what you're doing.
Absolutely. So Kendal is a WhatsApp CRM for the real estate brokerages and real estate industry broadly. In Dubai, we're expanding out to the entire MENA region, and eventually we'll go after the rest of the world, right? At that point, we'd have to evolve from just WhatsApp because the US, for instance, doesn't run on WhatsApp. But primarily the goal is to streamline how communication happens for real estate agents and brokerages in general, because everything happens on WhatsApp, but there's no proper way to sort of track these conversations or qualify leads automatically, because it's still, your office admin, if they're not there at 6 p.m., you're basically missing out on a lead that could yield you a lot of return, right? So our bot is effectively constantly qualifying them and then passing it on to your CRM. And once that's in your CRM, you can even do things like nurture that particular lead by sending them broadcast messages, which are about market updates or birthday messages, whatever it is. Sounds very simple, but you'd be surprised what that does for a relationship with a client. And that's really the starting phase of our journey with the WhatsApp CRM. We've just integrated with Property Finder, Bayut, and Dubizzle as well. And we're already working with leading brokerages in Dubai. One of our notable, not so small clients are Betterhomes, who leverage our WhatsApp stack. And there's several others in there that you can see on our website. So that's a little bit about Kendal. I've got two amazing co-founders, Drishti and Harman, who are on the technical side of the business. And we've got a very lean team who are shipping very hard. And we've been working together for the better part of 3.5 years. This real estate sort of pivot, as you'll know, in the startup world just happens all the time. But it's something that we've been working on just for the last 6 months. And I think the fact that I get the honor of being a guest number 1 on season 2 says that we're doing something right. So, yeah.
Yeah, actually, there is a lot of hype in this building in public. I believe you are one of the
hype builders.
Hype builders. No, one of the founders that are building in public.
Yeah.
What is this building in public?
Yeah, so I think a lot of people don't realize that most things in the world today are commoditized and not unique, right? Let's just say a real estate CRM, not unique. A WhatsApp tool, not unique. A property management company, not unique. The only thing that sets us apart is the brand, the community that we curate, and also if people are actually invested in your journey. This is not my first startup. I've built several different companies before, and every single time I've taken people on a journey with me. From day one when I launch, and I would launch the craziest things. Like I've launched a bank for creators before, like content creators, which sounds insane. But everyone on my LinkedIn following who are now at like some 10,000 folks, because I've been doing it for so many years, I just like, this kid is crazy. He's gonna do something big just because of the fact that he doesn't stop doing stuff, right? And it's them coming on that journey with me. And 6 months ago, I had no real estate people in my network at all. And then I was like, what's the way to hack that? Start a podcast, obviously. So you've got the Real Ones where I have the leading brokerage owners on there coming on the podcast, and like leading influencers and things like that who make content for real estate. And, you know, that's one side of the business. And then we also have the like personal brand from my LinkedIn as well, where I'm just talking about the day-to-day struggles of building a startup in the MENA region, or of a founder, like the things that you go through, burnout, anxiety, like anything that any real person could relate to, other than the I am delighted to announce, which everybody is always delighted to announce something. But, you know, taking them on that journey makes that delighted to announce all the more worth it, right? When you've seen a person go from zero to something, you're just like, wow, that's my guy. That's my player. It's like a sports team, and you're like, you know, it's freaking Messi or it's Ronaldo, like, you know, it's your guy. So,
but you're selling a B2B product, I believe.
Yes, I have.
And to a very old-fashioned industry.
Yes.
Or very traditional, let's put it in a better term. So which tangible benefits have you noticed or have you had in your experience building in public, knocking on the doors of very traditional, more number-based or fact-based decision makers?
Absolutely. So one thing to remember is that people are people at the end of the day, right? Everyone goes back home, has a meal with their family, goes out on the weekends, you know, has a life where they've been through ups and downs. They're all real people, right? And that's what you really learn running a podcast. But what I would say also is that in terms of numbers, just getting to the facts, we've had one guest even refer us about $8,000 in revenue, right? And that's just ridiculous, because when you think about the ROI on a podcast, people are always like, oh, our podcast's done, our podcast's worth it. Well, if my setup and cost for me, let's say, is, I don't know, $500 per episode or something like that, and I'm making $8,000 from one guest, and a lot of that revenue is recurring, it's just like the lifetime value over the cost of acquisition is just significantly higher. So if you want to talk numbers to the brokerage owners, I would say, like, you know, this is what's happening. They're coming on, they're either becoming a customer, or they're referring other people who could immediately use us because they already have a very mature ecosystem. So that's really been the benefit, I would say, to us. And it's really not different, appealing to them than appealing to anyone else. The only thing I would say is, and this should be for any industry, not just real estate, is just that the more we simplify the ideas around the concepts that we're trying to sell, the easier it becomes for a market to adopt your product. The more complex you are, the harder it is, right? If you go and saying, like I was saying earlier, like AI lead qualification, we do WhatsApp nurturing, we do, performance marketing, we do all these things. Like, it's a lot of things to consume. I just ask them, how do you do WhatsApp and marketing today? They tell me, oh, Joel, we just send like one message after like saying that we will get back to you. Cool. Here's what I can do, right? So it's just like a lot of people want to sell what they're, what they've built. And I get that because I've built something. But at the same time, you need to understand what the other person is currently like, what's the situation they're in and what they're using right now.
And do you think that the buyer persona also influences in the sense that someone that is maybe younger or more used to social media or consume this type of content is more prone to understand your product or not? I mean, it's just the first knocking on the door that is.
Yeah, it's interesting because what we do have is a WhatsApp integrated CRM, which is a communication tool like SMS from back in the day, or mail, or any of these things, right? So everyone kind of uses it regardless of age. Like there's 80-year-olds using WhatsApp, right? So it's a very clear, WhatsApp makes sense, no brainer. It's not like Instagram or TikTok where the idea in your head is, oh, you have to go around and dance on TikTok to like get views or whatever. This is just, you are informing your client on a channel of communication that's considered relatively professional in the region, right? So that's kind of like, it's as good as email, I would say. So that's why they don't see it as a gap between generations or anything like that. Yeah.
And but also in our industry, in short-term rentals, there is a lot of hype also in building in public.
Yes.
Especially in Dubai, there is some famous people building in public, and other people that are trying to grow the audience. But there is a lot of some kind of controversy about the product they're building in public.
Yeah.
Because some numbers can be challenged. Let's put it like this. No? So also, how do you see the fact that, you're building a product. As you said, you had founders that are very strongly technically, and I think it's key that people love your product, not only your distribution channel, which is this building in public, podcast, marketing. So how do you see also this hype of building in public will maybe lose a bit of reputation by people that are building in public with not such a robust or quality product? Like, how do you think this can backfire them, but you as well?
Yeah, I think that's definitely a risk in all cases. But think about it like this, right? Let's say it's like the devil you know versus the devil you don't. At least you know that this guy has got only A, B, and C, whereas the other guy has got like a mask on and you have no idea what's going on, right? So it's like, which is your poison, right? The reality is that nobody's going to have everything that you want. Nobody's going to be able to give you A to Z of everything. And you know this from running your company, right? It's not easy to cater to everyone's needs, but you will cater to 70% of their needs potentially. And that's kind of like what you need to be able to vet out for when you're choosing these people. The only thing I think building in public helps you do is increase the rate of conversion when you're sitting down with that individual to sign a contract or to make a decision. Because they're like, oh, you've got a podcast, you've got all the top people in the industry, you must be doing something right, and you have a great product, amazing, right?
So it gives you like social proof.
Yeah, exactly. I don't have... I don't know if you've seen my resume, but I don't have Goldman Sachs on there. I don't have JP Morgan on there. Why should you trust me? I don't have Allsop and Allsop or Betterhomes or whatever other brokerage, in the country on there. Why should you trust me? I'm not a real estate guy. Like I am now a real estate technologist, which is something that I've evolved into, but that's my story and you should know that, right? Like I wouldn't lie to anyone about that at all.
So a lot of young and not so young entrepreneurs might think, okay, I would love to build in public, but it's not me.
Yeah.
I'm not made to build in public. No?
Yeah.
So have you trained for that, or which advice can you give to someone that say, I would love to do it, but I don't feel the confidence and the energy to do it?
Yeah, I think you're just being lazy if that's you. So, I think everyone can make time for things that are important, especially if it's like a brand that's going to benefit you in the long term. I think personally that, it's just about doing, right? It's just about sort of getting into the habit of putting things out. I think, something I got from some of our investors a long time ago, I used to be very excited for a launch, right? For a big launch. Oh my God, this is going to be make or break. Our company's going to die or live based on this. And I've had like 20 of those and we're still alive. You know what I'm saying? And it's just kind of, the point is to say that no single post is going to make or break you. All you'll do is learn a little bit. There's something called the spotlight effect, right? The notion that everyone is watching you and everyone is like only looking at you and you're the main character of the world and every move you make is being tracked. And that's just not the reality. Nobody gives a damn. Nobody gives a crap about what you're putting out on LinkedIn. Nobody gives a damn about what you're putting out in your stories. You might think it's doing something in their day. They're just clicking through it like this. It doesn't matter who you are. If you're lucky and have personal brand, they might pause on it for 5 seconds, but that's about it.
And do you think it's more important quantity or quality?
I think quantity in the start and then quality eventually, because in the beginning, you don't really have quality. You don't really know what you're doing and you're still figuring it out. So for LinkedIn, my strategy is very simple. I have something called a hook rehook, right? And it's from this great thought leader on LinkedIn. I forget his name, but effectively the first line is the reason for you to expand on the post. You know how you have the see more button on the button, is the reason for you to expand that post. The second line is how you handle the objection of the person. So let's say your hook is, did you know this guy sold a house for 300 million pounds, right? And then the second line, what is the reader thinking? Well, is that, come on, 300 million, was it like a office building? Yeah, it was a residential, and then you're like, oh, you're having a conversation with the user as opposed to some sort of a, announcement kind of a thing. So these are the little things that you kind of learn from years of posting and years of like trying to get better at something. It's like, going to the gym and like, working out or something like that. Like you can't just be good at on day one doing a squat. Like, you're just going to break your back. Like it takes time to get good at these things. And that's the same as LinkedIn, I would say. It's one of those skills now that if you're trying to stand out in the world, whether you're a job applicant, whether you're a, entrepreneur or a content creator, it is a big, big deal. And I know that a lot of people think, oh, this guy has a podcast as well now. Oh, this guy has a LinkedIn account as well. But guess what? Like 98% of people are consumers, not producers. So you might think that that person's appearing in your feed a lot, but there's not a lot of other people like that person. So that's just the reality.
Very interesting. So today we are in a beautiful 3-bedroom apartment operated and managed by Highguest, one of the main clients of Mr. Alfred, in the beautiful island of Imar Beachfront. It's a 3-bedroom apartment plus maid with 3 bathrooms. It has very modern and beautiful finishings. It has been decorated and styled by the Highguest interior design team, and it has amazing views of the sea, of the skyline of the marina, and also private access to infinity pool and private beach. Go to mr.alfred.travel to book this apartment and many others in our portfolio. So let's go back to Kendal.
Yeah.
You started out of Dubai?
Well, a bit mix of the US and Dubai.
Okay.
Yeah.
A couple of years ago?
So Kendal in its current iteration, it's only been 6 months, I would say. But us as a company, we've been around for about 3.5 years, like I mentioned, and we've had several pivots along the way. And we've raised close to $2.8 million to build that out. So that's a little bit about us.
Very good. And why Dubai?
Dubai is home. So that's really what I would say. And it's weird being a third culture kid and saying that. And like sometimes I get comments saying that this is not your home, it's your second home or whatever it is. But that doesn't bother me. For me, it's like my family came here 30 years ago and made a living for themselves. And, we started with like nothing and like they built a life for themselves out here. And this place has given me everything that I had, including my high school and like the ability for my parents to send me to university, get educated, which is what my parents' ultimate goal was. We give our child education and then like, that's the most valuable thing we can provide them with. So when I think about those kind of things, I have a very weak point in my heart for that. And I can talk about how the real estate market is booming as well, if you'd like.
Well, that my next question, why real estate?
Yeah, no, I mean, for sure.
Real estate and Dubai
real estate, exactly.
But my question why Dubai, it's more like, did you think about launching product market?
Yes. Yeah. So let me get into that a little bit more, because I don't think that people think that sometimes decisions are purely like statistics driven and not like emotional. I think there's an emotional component to this decision as well, because if you want to look at the biggest real estate market in the world, go to Texas, go to the US, right? Why don't you do it there? But I don't want to go to a place where I don't know anyone, whereas home, even if I didn't know anyone in real estate, I knew one person who knew another person. Wasta, right? And being able to basically understand that Dubai's real estate market right now you know this very well. It's just a third of the price per square foot of like a New York and a half of the price of a London or whatever. Now, people have different predictions on where the market will go. Are we in a bubble and all these kind of things? But one thing I've learned is that people that bet against Dubai are usually wrong, right? That's really what I would say. Over the years, if you look at a 20-year trajectory, they've been wrong. So that is one of the main reasons. And Dubai as a market for us, Kendal, and why we built WhatsApp, because WhatsApp is the primary driver of communication in this region. Whether it's Dubai, Abu Dhabi, Saudi, etc. Like, there's so many different places that use this now. In Dubai, we have 5,250 brokerages at least. The last time I checked, there might be more now.
Companies.
Yeah,
Wow.
companies, exactly, right? So that's a lot of, when people say, do you have an addressable market? Yeah, hell yeah, I do, right? And for me, the key is to be the platform. I'm not trying to be the brokerage. And I've seen a lot of different prop techs go into the brokerage route, and I understand that it's good for cash flow because there's a lot of money in the market right now. But I still believe that empowering brokers and making their lives easier on a global scale is far more valuable than trying to do a brokerage out here. So that's really my passion, at least, to enable all these guys to succeed in the best way possible, make their lives easier.
And to complement and to finalize the product phase, like part of the podcast, you also have one of the top words of this era, which is AI. So you have Dubai, real estate, and AI.
Yes.
So good keywords in Google.
Yeah, no, 100%.
So what's the AI in your product?
So the lead qualification component is the AI part right now, where natural language is used to, let's say a lead comes into your website and then onto your WhatsApp, and basically they're having a chat with you at all hours. Some people message at 3 a.m. They're like, hey, I want a 5-bedroom villa on the Palm or whatever. And this guy is like a multi-billionaire, but oh, guess what? You were sleeping, boohoo, right? And like the next thing you know, you've lost the lead. So our AI responds based on the tone of the individual, what they're looking for, based on qualification questions that you've set. So you can tell us, this is what I'm looking for in terms of, I need to know their budget, their intent, their location, and then we will, in a natural way, ask that, and you can import 3 of your WhatsApp chats into our system, and then it will sound like you as much as possible, right? That's the base level of the AI component. What we're working on is also AI generated sort of templates so that you can send out like nurturing messages at the right time. So, oh, did you know it was X client's birthday? Send message. Like, here's the template for it. Just hit send, right? Make it easy for brokers to generate PDFs or website like links where it's showing a new listing that they have, for instance, right? And you just generate it from a WhatsApp text. So for me, AI is not just like the make memes and like, cute cat pictures or whatever. It's actually more about automated workflows meets AI and takes a user from the end to end and go very vertical and deep into an industry. That's how you win, right? I see a lot of people going horizontal with their technology. Like, we built a CRM, people are like, oh, why don't you cater to food? Why don't you cater to fashion? And the reality is that a company like Salesforce or HubSpot is sitting there going like, we have all these millions of, users, and we can just implement X technology and instantly they're upgraded. So why will I beat HubSpot or why will I beat Salesforce? It's because I have depth and distribution in a particular industry. And like, maybe I don't get to become a $100 billion company because of that. But at the same time, it's like winning trust, winning, excellence in the user experience, because, a broker can benefit far more and their lives can be way more easier from using Kendal than using a general purpose technology that wasn't even, built for their industry.
Yeah,
so,
actually, I've been reading lately that we're entering another phase of vertical softwares rather than horizontal.
100%.
Mr. Alfred is also a vertical software.
Yes.
So we have the same vision about that. Very good. So you touched a little bit about this topic, but how do you see the market, the real estate market in Dubai? Have you speak to a lot of brokerage?
Yes, everyone looks into the crystal ball and then tells me about
there is no crystal ball.
Exactly.
But I don't know what you're feeling. I mean, are you talking to people? What?
So what I see in the market right now is a lot of folks booking profits on a lot of the units that they bought into in 2021, something like that. And now they're, selling that off, booking a profit and reinvesting into newer properties, more off-plan stuff. So that's again more investment side of the thing. I would say on the residential side of the equation, what we have is 5,500 plus millionaires moving to Dubai from the rest of the world. Like it's one of the highest inbound immigration sort of volumes that you face anywhere in the world. So in that sense, the residential market isn't really looking like like it's slowing down anytime soon. But what I would say is when people talk about these big words like a bubble and things like that, what they're missing is that there's a new normal that's coming, right? And that normalization is at a higher level than what it was previously. And I think what people are thinking will happen is like, oh, some bubble will burst and then everything will just crash or whatever. But that is not the Dubai of today. And that's not the sustainable sort of flows of capital, flows of economy that have been built so that you can actually have a sustainable real estate market as well. So it's not just oil, it's not just tourism, it's the financial sector, it's the tech ecosystem, and the fashion industry, and so much else that are being built out of here. So I think the more life-changing companies that we have built out of the region, mr.alfred, talk about Huda Beauty, or you talk about like a global, like Imar, or a global food brand, or anything like that, going from Dubai to the rest of the world. That's when Dubai really, really starts kicking into high gear. And then you can see it become very, not Silicon Valley-esque, but somewhere between a lot of those high-functioning markets.
Yeah, you mentioned that you had investment. You're invested from the region or from
I have a mix. Yeah. So we've got the family office of Sheikh Khalid bin Mansour Al Thani, who is the founder of Forward Fund. He's an investor in the company. They've invested in Whoop. I don't know if you're familiar with the fitness watch, but they're worth $4 billion now. And then also like Replit, which is a software tool that you can use on your mobile to code apps, which is really cool. Also worth a few, maybe I think $1 billion or something now. So they're pretty cool in that sense. That's our regional investors. And then from the US and Asia, we have a ton of investment as well.
I do think maybe the investment industry regionally needs to evolve as well.
Yes.
For it to become a Silicon Valley, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Where I mean, maybe too market oriented. When it's fintech is fintech. When it's marketplace is marketplace. When it's AI is AI. Maybe you are in the good wave now. Yeah. But I think we need to, as a tech and investment ecosystem, I think we need to evolve a little bit more.
Yeah, but I think
it comes with the time.
Yeah, but I think venture capital in general is not going to be the same as the last 20 years at all. Like, I think it's completely what you were talking about earlier, the vertical SaaS movement. How can you build, like, there's two things people are investing in, platforms and products, right? Mm-hmm. Platforms are like OpenAI, $1 trillion potential companies, NVIDIA, like, platform businesses that are catering to everybody. Products are like, us, like Kendal or something that's built on top of these things and are catering to still like maybe $100 billion market. It's not $1 trillion, right? At least not like in the existing scope of what we're building. It's not $1 trillion market. So why should a VC who, let's say, manages $5 billion has to return, let's say, 3x, 4x, 5x, whatever, who has to basically return $20 billion? How are they going to be like, oh yeah, that seed stage startup in Dubai, who's doing like $200,000 in revenue a month, that's going to be my $1 trillion bet, like, so I can return my investors' fund. It's not going to happen. So by the mechanics of venture funding, it becomes way harder for a business to get any sort of funding. So the only way is profitability. Profitability is ensuring your survivability, and that ensures a long-term, sort of part where you can figure out that exponential piece, which leads you into the $100 billion, $1 trillion company.
Absolutely. I mean, actually, I've been thinking a bit about that. And for me, one of the problems of VC is the mindset of the power law of 10 to 1. Mm-hmm. That you need only one unicorn to pay for the whole fund.
I think it's 20, by the way. I don't know. I have no idea.
But anyway, even worse, right?
Yeah.
Because, and I think it's your point about 10x in 5 years. No, maybe you need to invest, you need to improve your filtering and invest in 10 companies that are going to be 3x in 5 years rather than trying to find one. No. Just pump money to make it 100 times larger. Yeah. Maybe this money, it doesn't make a business, right? So I think the mindset of, I agree. I mean, I don't know if that was what you're saying, but
absolutely.
But my view is that it needs to calm down a little bit, this hype of hyper funded companies. I mean, even valuations, probably that's in our side as a founders. Maybe valuations are too high. I mean, sit down at 50 million valuation. It makes no sense. You put too much pressure in the team, in yourself, in everyone.
100%.
and the success rate, I'm sure it goes down because of this pressure. So,
Oh yeah, yeah,
so I mean, we are trying to build a sustainable business. We have a bit of funding.
awesome.
But yes, I'm a true believer in sustainable and profitable businesses.
Absolutely.
Because at the end, is the one that the clients also will value, no? That they want to work with you because you're a company that can sustain by itself, not because you have a lot of money in the bank because of investors.
Yeah, I don't know if you saw this. Even for private companies now, there's a company called Do Not Pay, which is a AI lawyer kind of a thing that was.
Yes.
Yeah. So it was helping people get out of parking tickets in the US, right? And they got profitable, like massively profitable. And I think the founder sent an investor update out or something like that saying we have 8,000 days of or 8,000 years of runway or something like that. Crazy. But anyways, the point is he started paying out dividends to investors, even though the company's private. And I thought that was really cool because investors don't need to wait then, 10 years to see a return. And then we have a rebalancing of the venture equation. Like you said, invest in fewer companies and profitable businesses, grow them like sustainably. Who would have thought?
How investment was done 20 years ago.
Yeah.
I mean, we are not reinventing.
Exactly. So, yeah, but I still think that venture investing has allowed young people like me to have a shot at like building a moonshot, right? So why should a 25-year-old get a shot at building a unicorn?
Oh, yeah.
I don't have the experience.
That's true.
Right. So it's just like the thing is, I think by force of the fact that I had that Silicon Valley environment around me, which is where we were from a San Francisco based accelerator. So we got exposure to that environment. So it was just like from there to then like seeing all of the founders who are so successful around us, getting that infectious energy and realizing that there's no real thing called a knowledge gap, right? That you can't bridge in a year.
Mm-hmm.
Like I know enough about the real estate industry to have a conversation with you now, and you're a veteran in the space, right? And that's just because real estate and most industries are not rocket science, right? If you're building a freaking spaceship, I get it. Put the time in, go and do a degree maybe. I have no idea. But the point is like when you're doing something like this, where you're building technology to improve productivity, these kind of things, you don't have to be a scientist. You know what I'm saying? Let's just not overhype these things. The only thing that sets me apart and any other entrepreneur who's trying to do something is tenacity, like the relentless ability to get hit in the face every single day and be like, rejection, rejection, rejection. Take that and then go and do something, good with it. I think that's the only thing that sets me apart from anybody else, not any form of intellectual prowess or anything like that. So, yeah.
Yeah, but that's very important.
Yeah.
That's very important. And it's good that people understand that
Yeah.
being resilient is a huge skill.
Absolutely.
Let's take a moment to thank Mr. Alfred, our sponsor. They're not just a property management system. They're a comprehensive solution for vacation rentals, offering everything from dynamic pricing to efficient marketing. Their intuitive platform simplifies operations so you can focus on growth. Excitingly, Mr. Alfred now offers a free light version, including a channel manager with connections to over 60 OTAs. To learn more and to start streamlining your rental business, visit mr.alfred.com today.
Very good. So also one of the key topics of our podcast are short-term rentals.
Yeah.
I believe Kendal has not been built for short-term rentals.
Not yet.
But but have you had any exposure in short-term rentals?
Yes, we actually have had some exposure in short-term rentals. I guess is one of our clients, and like obviously what we've seen with that is it's actually one of the most ripe markets for WhatsApp intervention. Because think about it like this, right? Like an individual who's bought a holiday, like a month or 2 months at a holiday home, they're gonna go in and be like, how do I use the microwave? How do I use the washing machine? And then you or the admin of the property has to basically sit and be like, oh, this is how you do it, like 20 different times for the it's the same repetitive stuff. And you can provide them with a manual, but they'll be like, no, you need someone to talk to, la la la. So having an AI chatbot that replies to you constantly is a very, very useful tool in the most simplistic form of how something like Kendal can be applied to short-term rentals. And the issue of bad leads is always a thing, right? So getting bad leads is even a challenge for short-term rental companies, for developers, for brokerages, for everyone in the real estate business, and anyone that runs performance marketing or has some form of inbound traffic, right? So for us, it's to help you as a real estate company, regardless of sector, focus on the 10 out of 100 leads that are actually good versus the 90 that are just like wasting your time. And that's really what Kendal will enable the short-term rental market to do. In the interim, that's all I can say, I would say, but I'm fairly confident that as we go deeper into the real estate stack, we're going to have something on offer for the short-term rental space, the property management space, developers and beyond.
Yeah. Very good. Yeah, for Mr. Alfred, we would like to try your technology for sure, because I think, I mean, we have a lot of interaction also with European companies, and I don't know if you had this feeling, but they are shocked about the use of WhatsApp in Dubai, UAE. I mean, in Europe with this data protection and everything, it's a bit more complicated. But I'm a true believer that WhatsApp is extremely useful and very efficient. I mean, it improves efficiency, in my opinion, on the communication.
100%. I mean, people in London, for instance, because that's another market I have exposure in, and it's like, they just treat it as a personal space, right?
Exactly.
Like they don't treat it as a professional kind of thing. So it hasn't got to them yet that WhatsApp is the new email or WhatsApp is the new marketplace. Because in India, if you look at it, social commerce happens on WhatsApp. Like people are buying stuff off of WhatsApp, which is crazy, right? Like you have a catalog, you book a few things, purchase the thing, that's about it. Whereas, the rest of the world in the West is still sort of catching up, I would say, to what's been made like progress-wise with WhatsApp in this side of the world. And that's because the US is stuck on iMessage.
Yes.
But my bet is that Mark Zuckerberg owns Meta owns WhatsApp. WhatsApp will be big in the US at some point.
Has to.
Yeah.
Very good. So we're coming to an end.
Yes.
I usually end the podcast with a question is like, how do you get influenced? Like, do you read books? Do you watch or listen podcasts? Or where do you get inspired? Which content do you consume that you can recommend our audience?
For someone that makes a lot of content, I really don't consume enough content at all. I do have multiple phases of where I'm reading a lot of books, but that's usually when I'm like having free time. What I find is the only thing I find inspiration from is just like people that have tenacity, are relentless in their pursuits, regardless of what career they're pursuing, whether it's sports, whether it's, like real estate or whatever it might be. I'm really inspired by our customers. I think they, the fact that they go out there every single day and do the hard work of like doing this viewing, that viewing, running around town. It's not easy. I do it too because I'm pitching to them. I go to their offices, etc. And I can't imagine the amount of rejection that you take and like how you deal with it. So for me, it's the people I interact with that inspire me a lot, I would say. So it's just like, yourself, right? Like what you've built, what we spoke about it just before this, like the amount of units you guys manage and things like that. It's not a small feat. And the fact that you can get up every day and go after it, that inspires me. I don't think I'm not inspired by an Elon Musk or some faraway figure. I'm inspired by people that are closer to home. I'm inspired by people that can go from A to B rather than people who are already at Z, right? And I think there's something about the people that try, like as opposed to the people that don't. So that's really what inspires me. And everyone I meet, doesn't really matter if you're a billionaire or not. Yeah.
Very good. Very good. So thank you for your time. We're going to see you in Scale in the 9th and 10th of October. It's a very interesting panel about AI.
Yes.
So I will have other panelists and moderators. We'll see you and hear you there.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me.
Same here. Next Gen Rentals is brought to you by our main sponsor, Mr. Alfred. Mr. Alfred specializes in making vacation rental management effortless.